Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to show you how to run a report, and it's super easy, so this shouldn't take too terribly long. First, we need to make sure that we're in the reports section of the application. You can see that we are, because here are some reports shown in the gallery. If we weren't in the reports section, we could get there by just clicking on the reports folder that you see in the folder tree off to the left. We talked about that in the gallery and navigation video. To get to a report, we just want to navigate into the folder in which the report resides. In this case, I want to go and run one of my OEE reports. And here is my OEE summary report. Double click on him. It'll pop up with a window. The report needs to ask me a few questions about some parameters for the report before it can run. So in this case, it wants to know what's my time span for the report and what are some of the filters, what are some of the data filters we're going to apply to this report. Time span, we're going to choose today, but here are some of the other options. We could choose this hour, last hour, yesterday, etc. Some useful presets. Alternately, we could explicitly choose a time span. If we wanted down to the hour, minute, second for a start and stop time, we could choose that, or we could choose to use an existing calendar, and we'll cover calendars in more depth later. We could choose an existing calendar to run the report against. In our case, today's fine. We're going to leave that right like it is. In the Data Filters tab, we need to choose which machine we're going to run this report for. I'm going to run it against my test lathe 1. It's a simulated machine here at StatusWatch's offices because we don't have an actual manufacturing facility on site to monitor. So let's go ahead and run it against test lathe 1. Click View. Simple as that, we get a report. This is a waterfall report showing us the breakdown of the different states that our machine was in over the course of our time period. Red bars for non-desirable states and green bars for desirable states. You can see we had an awful lot of red here. Our equipment was broken down in our fakey data for a very large subset of today. Below, we see that we have a table, and it has all of that same information plus a little bit of extra stuff for OEE broken out, part quality, performance, etc. All broken out into tabular data so we can review it with a more fine-tooth comb. As easy as that, we ran a report. That's the extent of the interaction with StatusWatch that some users will ever have to have. It's just open up a report, double click, feed in a few things by way of time span and what machine, click View, and look at the result. You can see that that's pretty easy. Let's run another report just to show you another one. We'll go into our reports again. I use the breadcrumb up here at the top to navigate backwards. I'm going to go into my andon folder, and I'm going to look at my andon response time. This one has an awful lot of data usually in it, so I'm going to trim it down to just last hour as my preset. I'm also going to choose just that test lathe number 1 again. Double click to send it over there, or alternately I could click and drag him over there if we prefer that. And click View, and we should get some dots. There they are. Blue dots indicate that the andon light for this station was in a blue flashing state. Every dot represents an event, and the altitude, the height of the dot in this particular chart, shows you how long it was in that particular state. Because all of these are non-desirable things, we want, in an optimum facility, we want to have fewer dots, and we want to have them at a lower altitude. In this case, we see that they weren't too bad. This is how many seconds it took to respond. Highest response time looks to be about mid-50s seconds. And if we want to get more detailed, we can look at every single one of those events broken out in tabular data below. We see that our blue flashing, here's all 4 of our blue flashing events. And yes, 56 seconds was our longest response time there. Our red flashing, we did even better, and our longest one looks to have been 34 seconds. And our yellow flashing, also 34 seconds, was our longest response time. So our first responders are doing an excellent job of getting to the station quickly after the button is pressed. Of course, this is just a fakey factory, so we can make up any kind of data we'd like to put on here. But you can see that it was a piece of cake for me to run this report. We'll go back to our reports using the breadcrumb again at the top. And really that covers it. For running a report, all that a user needs to do is find the report, double click on it, feed in some parameters if necessary, what the time span is and what machines to run it against, and click View. It's pretty simple. We're going to cover other things in more depth in the following videos, like how to build the reports from scratch and what all of the individual report components mean that go into it. But that covers it for just the running reports. You can tell it's just a piece of cake. We'll see you in the next video.